Hello! Today I'm going to show you how to create a backup for Microsoft SQL Server database on ODBC backup mode using Ahsay OBM. Ahsay offers two Microsoft SQL Server backup modes depending on your setup and database operation. VSS backup mode, which utilizes Microsoft Volume Shadow Copy Service to take a snapshot of the databases to ensure complete data consistency and allows for hot database backups with minimal impact on end-user experience. And ODBC backup mode, where the database files are spooled to a temporary directory before they are uploaded on the backup destination. ODBC backup mode supports automated transaction log backups, point-in-time recovery, and backup of high transaction databases. Using Ahsay OBM to backup your Microsoft SQL Server database allows you to restore the databases to the original storage location and restore to an alternate storage location on the same server. Ahsay takes the stress out of Microsoft SQL Server database recovery with our automated recovery process, which restores the .mdf data files and transaction log files for ODBC backup mode from the designated destination storage such as Ahsay Drive. For advanced users, an option exists for manual database recovery or recovery on another server, providing complete control over the recovery process through our Restore as Raw Files feature. Let's jump onto my screen and start to create a backup. On your MS SQL server, launch Ahsay OBM, then log in using your credentials. Click the Backup Sets tile and click on the plus icon to create a new backup set. Enter the name of your backup set, then select MS SQL Server Backup as your backup set type. There are two backup modes available, VSS mode and ODBC mode. For our example today, we will select ODBC mode as our database is set up using a full recovery model. The advantage of an ODBC-based backup is that it supports automated transaction log backups, making it ideal for backing up databases with high volume of transactions by allowing more frequent scheduling for transaction log backups. The database files and transaction log backups are first spooled to a temporary directory before they are uploaded to the backup destination, which may take longer for larger databases compared to VSS-based backup. Select the SQL server. For the login ID and password, it is recommended to use Windows authentication or a trusted connection whenever possible for the authentication to the MS SQL server. This method is tightly integrated with Windows security protocols and is more secured compared to SQL Server authentication. Click Next to proceed. Select the backup source. Select the database that you would like to backup. For our example, we will select the whole server to backup all the available databases. Make sure to always backup the system databases, namely the master, model, and MSDB databases, after every significant update. These files are essential for the operation of the server instance and contribute to a successful recovery of the whole database when backed up. You can conveniently check the recovery model of your databases by right-clicking any of the databases, then select Recovery Model. In our example, the databases are set up with full recovery model. If required, you can change the recovery model directly from the Ahsay OBM backup source selection by selecting a different option. Although it is recommended to consult the database admin before undertaking such changes. Click Next to proceed. Create an automatic backup schedule. Turn on the setting and click on the plus icon to add a schedule. Input the name of the new backup schedule. There are three backup set types available: full, differential, and transaction log. Create a schedule for each backup type to optimize efficiency of your MS SQL database backups and minimize any performance impact on the server. Typically, this entails performing a full database backup once a week, preferably on Fridays or Saturdays, which also minimizes any impact on end users. Differential backups saves changes to the database that have occurred since the last full backup. Depending on the database setup and operation, a differential backup schedule may or may not be needed depending on your backup and recovery strategy. Transaction log backups are more efficient in terms of backup completion time due to the smaller size of the log files compared to full and differential backup data sizes. Their compact size allows for more frequent backup scheduling, such as hourly or at specific hourly intervals, ensuring better data protection as you have the ability to recover to the latest point in time. These backups can be scheduled during weekdays, specifically from Monday to Friday. When setting up a backup schedule, consider the hardware performance of the machine, the network bandwidth, and the retention policy settings. For the type setting, you can either select daily, weekly, monthly, or a custom setting. For the start backup setting, you can choose at if you want the backup schedule to start at a specified time, or every if you want it to start at a specified interval. Using regular backup intervals is crucial for ensuring that changes to the database are always backed up. However, having small backup intervals also means that the backup machine must have the appropriate hardware specifications to achieve optimal performance. As the amount of new data grows, ensure that the Ahsay OBM user account has enough storage quota allocation and consider the retention policy settings and retention area storage management. For the stop setting, which is only available if the start backup setting is set to at, there are two options available. Until full backup completed, where the backup job will only stop running when all the changes to your data are completely backed up regardless of how long it takes, and after, which stops the backup job after a specific time period, even if the backup of all your files or folders are not yet completed. The best practice is to enable run retention policy after backup, which will delete all the files and folders in the retention area that have exceeded the retention period. This is to better manage the backup storage quota. For our example, we will create one full database backup every Saturday at 8 p.m. and one transaction log backup set from Monday to Friday at 8 p.m. Click Next to proceed. Select Sequential as the backup mode since our example today only has one storage destination. However, if you have more than one destination storage, it is recommended to set the backup mode to concurrent, like if you want to back up your files to the Ahsay drive and a local drive. For our example, we will save our files to the Ahsay drive. Click on the plus icon and select Ahsay drive as the destination storage. Click Next to proceed. Use the default setting for encryption. This is the most secure option as it uses Ahsay's AES 256-bit data encryption, and it will randomly generate a 44 alphanumeric character encryption key to secure your backup. Remember, once you have selected the encryption settings, it cannot be changed afterwards. If you need to change the encryption settings, you would need to create a brand new backup set and back up all your data again. Click Next to proceed. It is very important to keep a copy of your encryption key before clicking Confirm. If you forget or lose your encryption key, you will lose the ability to access and restore your backup data. Once you have secured the encryption key, click Confirm to proceed. Enter the Windows login credentials to authenticate the scheduled backup job. If the backup schedule is turned off and the selected storage is not a network shared drive, this section will be automatically skipped. The Windows User Authentication login credentials can be added later on after creating the backup set. Click Next to proceed. The backup set has been successfully created. Before we start a backup job, it is recommended to set the temporary directory to another local drive for optimal backup and restore performance. Click Close and select the backup set that we created to view the other options. Click the Show Advanced Settings and select Others. The temporary directory is set to a local volume by default. The temp folder is the default location where Ahsay OBM temporarily stores the backup set index files and temporary restore files. Enable the Remove Temporary Files After Backup to effectively manage the free space on the drive, especially for ODBC backups. It should not be located on the same partition as the operating system, because if that drive fills up, it could cause the backup machine to crash, preventing your backup from running or completing. It shouldn't also be set to a network drive, as it could affect both backup and restore performance. With ODBC backup mode, the setup of the temporary folder is very important, as the physical database files are spooled to the designated temporary folder for each full, differential, and transaction log backup jobs. For backups to run reliably, it is crucial to ensure that the drive hosting the temporary directory has sufficient free space to accommodate the database files. The best practice is to choose a temporary directory folder with available free disk space that has at least 150% of the total database size. Click Change and select a different location. I will select a different local drive and store the temporary files there. Select the preferred compression type. You can choose between no compression, normal compression, fast compressed size larger than normal, and fast with optimization for local. We'll use the default setting, which is fast with optimization for local, as this is the optimal setting for our backup set type. Next is Recycle Bin. This feature allows the user to set the number of days the block files that were deleted due to retention policy or data integrity check will be held as added protection. Let's go back to the General tab. If the Windows user authentication was skipped during the backup set creation, or if you want to update the login credentials, you may do so under the General tab, then scroll down at the bottom, right here. Next, click on the duplication. The duplication is enabled by default, and when it is turned on, it removes redundant data blocks. The default settings are the optimal settings for the duplication, and for database backups, it saves up to 60% or more storage space, saves cost, and reduces network bandwidth usage. Last is retention policy. The retention policy dictates how long it will hold files and folders that were deleted or modified during a backup job before they are removed. They are stored in the retention area, which is a temporary destination to store the files and folders which can still be restored. Increasing the duration increases the likelihood of recovering older versions of deleted or modified files and folders, increasing the storage required, which translates to higher storage cost. There are two types of retention policy available. Simple, which is a basic policy where the retained files are removed automatically after a specified number of days or backup jobs. And advanced, which is a more flexible policy which can be used to maximize the scope of your data recovery while minimizing the storage usage and cost. You can set it to daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, yearly, or a custom setting. Let's go back and choose a simple retention policy. Click Save to save the changes, and go back to the main menu of Ahsay OBM. We are now going to manually run a backup job. Click on the backup tile, then select the backup set that we just created. Select the type of backup job to run. For our example, we will run a full database backup. Enable the Run Retention Policy After Backup option to permanently delete files and folders in the retention area which have exceeded the retention period to better manage the backup storage quota. Click Backup to run a backup job. The backup has successfully completed. And that's how you back up your databases on Microsoft SQL Server on ODBC backup mode with Ahsay OBM. With Ahsay, your data is fully protected, armed with the latest technology like immutable backups, where your backup data will never be encrypted, deleted, or modified for total protection against hackers and ransomware. Strong AES 256-bit data encryption ensures that your data is encrypted during transit and when your data is stored to prevent anyone from reading your data without your permission. Two-factor authentication to prevent anyone from accessing your data without your permission. Multi-destination backups to store your backup data in more than one storage destination and across many geographical regions for maximum protection against natural disasters, fire, or conflicts. And data deduplication, a feature that removes duplicate copies of data that helps you save up to 90% of your storage space, with significant savings on your data storage cost, as well as much faster backups. That's why you should choose Ahsay. Your data is safe with us.